There are three main reasons why we experience rejection from people. The first reason is that people reject us when we don't meet their expectations. But what if that's not the case with you? Find out more in the next few minutes. Hello, my name is Toks. I am the author of Rejected for a Purpose, How God Uses Rejection to Help You Find and Fulfill Your Destiny. Welcome to part 4 of How to Overcome Rejection. If you missed any of the first 3 parts of this series, I encourage you to look at the links below and you'll be directed to the first installments of these series. Last time I talked about 3 main reasons why we experience rejection from people, and the first reason is when we don't meet expectations. But perhaps you're one of those arguing that, wait a minute, Toks, I understand if I don't meet expectations. I understand if I don't fit the profile. I'm not qualified. I don't have the education. I understand if I have the wrong attitude. But Toks, I have the experience. I have the education. I have the connections. I have everything that they required of me, and I have the right character. I'm a godly person. I pray. I serve in church. I'm a kind, loving person, but I'm still getting rebuffed. I'm tired of people telling me, you're such a beautiful lady. How come you're not married yet? I'm tired of people saying, hey, you're a great looking guy. You have a great job. You have a good head on your shoulders. How come you're not married yet? I'm tired of hearing things like that. I'm being a good person. I'm doing the right thing, but I'm still getting rejected. What's wrong with me? What is the problem, Toks? What is wrong with me? You really want to know what's wrong with you? I'll tell you what's wrong with you. What's wrong with you is that you're asking yourself the wrong question. You should not be asking yourself what's wrong with you. You should be asking yourself what's right with you. Which brings me to the second reason why we experience rejection from people. It's because we exceed their expectations. In this case, we are rejected for being right or doing right. By being right or doing right, we exceeded their expectations. For example, by being right, what I mean is you're too good for what you're trying to accomplish. You're too good for the person you're trying to connect with. You're too good for whatever it is you're trying to get involved with. For example, you go to apply for a job, and the recruiter looks at your resume and says, you are overqualified, so you're not hired. This is where a lady is rejected by a guy because her pay grade is higher than his. She has her own house, and he lives in an apartment with his mom. His mom's apartment. Don't misunderstand me. Nothing wrong with the guy living with his mom, because I was that guy that lived with my mom for a while, and I think I was an okay guy at the time. The point I'm trying to make is, despite the fact that materially speaking, the lady might be more accomplished than her boyfriend per se, she has no problem with where he is. I know, guys, I know that there are some ladies that feel differently about that. And if a lady rejects a guy because he is not as accomplished as she is, she will be rejected based on point number 1. He did not meet her expectations. But that's not the point I'm making here. The point I'm making here is there's a lady who's well accomplished and she has a boyfriend who's living with his mom. Yet she loves him. She cares about him. She sees his potential. She is not putting it in his face. She is not bragging about her accomplishments and making him feel like he's not good enough. She's doing none of that. She loves him. She appreciates him. But he has a problem with the fact that she is more accomplished than him, and he is the one pushing her away. That's the point I'm trying to make. Another example of being right is when a guy is rejected by a lady because he is too nice. He is too much of a gentleman. She is not used to that kind of treatment, and she pushes him away, not accepting his kindness and his love for her. A biblical example of this can be found in Daniel chapter 6. In this story, we have a guy named Darius. He was the king of Persia at the time. And Darius had 120 leaders. He had the Bible says satraps, or depending on the translation you look at, there were 120 guys in charge of parts of where he ruled. And over those 120 satraps were three presidents or administrators. And one of the administrators was Daniel. And in Daniel chapter 6, verse 3, we are told that Daniel was outstanding. He distinguished himself above everybody else. And consequently, Darius was thinking of putting Daniel in charge of everybody else. And in Daniel 6:4, it says, then the other satraps and leaders and presidents connived to come against him. They refused to accept the fact that Darius was about to make Daniel their boss. He was about to go above them. He was about to be promoted over them, and they came against Daniel because he was about to exceed their expectations. Relax. The reason why some people come against you or reject you is because you're too good for them. They feel intimidated. They feel like you've raised the bar. They feel like you make them look incompetent. They are intimidated by your excellence. You're too good for them. That is the second reason why we experience rejection from people. And the third reason why we experience rejection from people is something I'm going to tell you about next week. Until then, thank you for subscribing, and thank you for sharing with others as well. Until next week, take care and stay blessed.